going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. My name is Anthony, and the reason for me making this video is because I gotten a lot of questions from you in my previous video in a complete guide to Cuba, as you can see in the screen. So I wanted to answer to all the questions that I got in the previous video. Yeah, that's right. So as you can see in the video, we already have like around almost 25,000 views. I'm really happy about that because basically I never thought that we were gonna reach that amount of views. And as you can see, here I am. So I'm gonna share all the things that I already know. I'm gonna share a couple of things that probably I wasn't able to share in the previous video because I know you're interested in Cuba. And yeah, so I'm gonna cover completely new things that probably I wasn't able to cover in the other video. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. Let's go. And before we move forward, make sure you subscribe and let's dive into the video. Okay guys, so right now we're gonna jump in my computer. I'm gonna share the most frequent questions that you have, and I'm gonna share all the things. I'm gonna answer all of them. First of all, I need to wear my glasses because I'm kind of like blind, so let's go. Okay, first question comes from Ayesha J. So she's asking, what are the houses called that exchange money? In Spanish, you're gonna call them casas de cambio. So that's gonna be the name of exchange money. So you're gonna call them casas de cambio. So whenever you're going to a place, if you wanna ask somebody, hey, where is the exchange house? Or like where can I exchange money? So you're gonna refer them to as casas de cambio. Okay, so this is kind of like an interesting question that I want to share with you as well. So this is going to be the second question. It's going to be, what about tips for the services? Do you have to tip or it's included in the price? So it's not included in the price. So you don't, if you want to tip, it's okay. If you don't want to tip, that's fine. Like in Central America, whenever you go into different parts of South America, Central America, the Caribbean, Cuba, Puerto Rico, like they are, for what my friends told me and for what I know, is that you don't need to tip them, but it would be really nice if you actually just give them some money in exchange for the services. It's just because it will be nice from your part. So this is gonna be an interesting question, and something I was this one comes from Fritz Musteman. So Fritz Musteman, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Something I was wondering was about the currencies. Most things are priced in CUP, I noticed. Can you exchange your CUC for CUP once you get into the country? Or would we have to deal with the math involved with understanding the CUP and CUC conversions and keep tracking of the two currencies? So this is gonna be like a really good question. I think this is gonna save you a lot of money. And first of all, you need to be familiarized with what is a CUC and what is a CUP. As I mentioned, and like before, there's gonna be a video for this specific topic. It's in my complete guide to travel to Cuba. But what I would recommend you is that, yes, you need to know about the CUC and CUP, which is going to be the currency exchanges there in Cuba. What I'm going to recommend you is that make sure that you're going to exchange all your money in CUC, just because it's going to be easier for you tracking the money. So you don't have to be worrying of what is the value of a CUP, what is the value of CUC. So for me saying that is because it's not worth the hassle of you exchanging your money from CUC to CUP. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get more money back, like you're gonna get cheaper prices. That's like a misunderstanding. You're gonna be able to find some cheaper things, like probably like really cheap food, like sandwiches, like probably like the bus if you want to take the bus in Cuba. But it's not worth the hassle. I wouldn't recommend you to just try to exchange from CUC to CUP. It's not worth it. I'm telling you, just take this tip because it's not going to be worth it for you. Okay, so this is going to be another question. It comes from Isaiah Bijo, and she's telling me, what are you using as a selfie stick? What type of camera do you record did you take? So I actually took two cameras. It's gonna be, one is gonna be the G7X Mark II. It's gonna be the first camera. Second camera, I took my GoPro, which is kind of like a really cheap. You're gonna find it on Amazon. I'm gonna provide you the link down below in the description so you can actually go and buy it. Just to let you know, this is gonna be an affiliate link, so it's gonna go through Amazon. So whatever you get in there, it's gonna help me sponsor my channel. Just get it. It's gonna be a G7X Mark II, and it's gonna go a GoPro, and it also make sure you get like at least like a Gorilla tripod, because it's gonna help you if you wanna get the steady shots like the one that I'm shooting right now. It's from the same person, Isa Bijoed. Did you book AirBNB every 2 days? I am going in August and I need to know if I should just do a full 7 days in Havana. So he is concerned about like the fact that he was explaining me in the comment sections that he heard that you need to book an Airbnb every 4 days, and that's not true, because we actually booked an Airbnb for like a complete week, and you can book as many days as you want. You don't need to book them for like and renew it every 4 days. So you can actually book the Airbnb for a complete week or even 2 weeks if that's something that you want to. And you can actually negotiate the price with the seller, whoever's renting you the apartment or the casa. There's gonna be another question. This one comes from Coda Rodriguez, and she's asking, can you bring back cigars and rum from Cuba? I heard it's a $100 limit. Can you bring back government run cigars? Because I think there is a restriction. You can support any government establishment. So basically what happens, to be honest, when I actually left Cuba, they didn't do any like procedure in checking what I was bringing with me. I brought like $120 worth in cigars, and my friend actually did the same thing. And I'm not really sure about this specific thing, but I will tell you that when I left Cuba, I went to Mexico, and in Mexico, in the airport, they didn't check any of my packages or any of my luggage or anything like that. So just take my experience, and yeah. So I answered to this question before. Jasmine Blanchard says, I'm going on a cruise to Cuba, but we will only be in Cuba for a day. How much money do you recommend I exchange? And I want like 5 cigars, 3 bottles of rum, and a lunch for me, for my husband. It's a funny question, but I would recommend you to bring at least $200, because the cigars are not expensive, but they're not cheap. So the cigars is gonna cost you between $50. She's trying to buy 5 cigars, so for a package they're gonna sell you you're gonna get like 5 cigars for like each one is gonna cost you like around $15 to $20, and 3 bottles of rum is very cheap. It's not that expensive. So I would recommend you, like, each bottle of rum, when we were buying the rum in Cuba, it costed us between $10 to $15, so 10 to 15 CUCs. So it was pretty good. Like, it wasn't like that expensive. Meals in Cuba, if you're gonna go to a restaurant, it's gonna be more expensive. If you're going to a local place, you're gonna be able to find cheaper food. So, like always, like any place. Okay, so guys, this is gonna be an important question, and this is a tip that I didn't share in the previous video. It's just because it's something that I did. I mean, it's up to you if you want to do it. I'm gonna read you the question, and I'm gonna answer to this question and the things that I did to get the most money out of the currency. So it comes from Mert Tamil. So Anthony Llanos, you say that you have an extra tip for the one that speaks Spanish. What's the tip? Is there like a black market for currency, by the way? A question mark. So I wanted to share this tip because it's probably going to save you a lot of money, especially if it's changing like maybe $1,000, $2,000, or maybe even $5,000. So you can go to local banks and exchange your money. You can go to casas de cambio and exchange your money. In banks, they're going to charge you a highest interest in conversion if you decide to exchange US dollars, Mexican pesos. If you decide to exchange any currency, they're gonna charge you between 10 to 13% in fees and interest and everything. If you decide to go to a casa de cambio, probably they're gonna exchange you between 7 to 8 to 9% in exchange fees and everything. And this is gonna be a really good tip. So what I did when I was in Cuba, I actually did exchanging in banks, I exchanged in Casa de Cambios, but it just got to a point that I was like, is there a way to save more money? And actually this is a way to save more money. So what you can do if you speak Spanish or you feel comfortable going to different houses of different people, different Cuban people, what I recommend you to do is that whoever's renting you the home or whoever's renting you the Airbnb in the place that you are staying, I would recommend you to ask them if they know someone that travels in and out from Cuba, like you know somebody that travels all the time and they go to different places to get merchandise, or they do a lot of business travel or anything like that, and then you're gonna ask them if they can refer you to that person, and if they know that that person can exchange money for you. So the reason for this is because these people that are traveling in and out of the country, they actually want to exchange the money as well, and they don't want to get interest. So whenever you're actually asking the people who's renting you the house if they know someone, so they can actually exchange you the money for like maybe between 2 to 3% on interest, or like interest of the currency exchange. So make sure you do that because it's gonna save you a lot of money. And in order to do this, make sure you already have some understanding of Spanish, because you can talk to the Cuban people. Because this is not a casa de cambio, this is not a bank that you can get the money from, like you can go and exchange the money. This is gonna go, you're gonna go into houses of locals that they can exchange the money for you, and they're gonna exchange you between as I said before, and the conversion rate will be between 1 or like 3 to 5%. And make sure you bring with you $100 bills, because the exchange is going to be lower if you bring $100 bills versus bringing with you $20, and you probably have like, you want to exchange $1,000 in just 20s. Like they don't like that, and they just want to get like $100 bill so they can exchange that money with you. Let me know in the comment sections below if you want me to elaborate a little bit more on this. I think I was pretty clear and detailed about this tip. So yeah, and this is gonna be a really good tip. This is gonna be like I'm receiving a lot of questions on currency, so I'm gonna cover one more about the currency. And Sonia Buzelli is asking, Anthony, thanks so much for the video. My son is traveling to Cuba with a team from the university. I was wondering though, should he convert the money here to euros or Canadian money before going to Cuba? I don't want him losing too much. He has leftover money to convert back to US dollars. Thank you so much. As I mentioned before, like if you decide to exchange US dollars to euros or US dollars to Mexican pesos, just because you're gonna get a better conversion, it's not worth like spending that much time like doing these conversions, because the savings is going to be very, very minimum. I wouldn't recommend it to you. I would recommend you, if you have US dollars, just go and exchange it into Cuban currency, and so you don't waste time. It's kind of like, it's not a lot of savings. And if you heard the tip before, that actually is going to save you a lot more money. A little bit more risky, because you don't know what the person that exchanging the money has, like he probably can give you fake money. You don't know that. But I think the previous tip is going to save you even more money. That's what I say. Like you need to get familiarized with the dollar, with the currency of Cuba, CUPs and CUCs. And she also was mentioning later on is that can you exchange any currency into Cuban currency before you come to Cuba? And you cannot do it, because the only way that you can get Cuban currency is if you actually go into the country and you can exchange the money there in Cuba. That's the only way. Or if you decide to go out from Cuba and you want to keep the Cuban currency because you think you can exchange the money in other places like United States, if you're going to go to Mexico, you're going to go to Europe, you're going to go to South America or something like that, you're not going to be able to exchange your money. Maybe you can, maybe you know somebody that wants to exchange the money. Personally, you will not be able to find someone that can exchange that money for you. Okay guys, so this is gonna be the end for the frequently asked questions. I'm going to add 2 extra things to the things I didn't share on the previous video. So one of the things is gonna be about how secure is Cuba, like is it dangerous, is it not? So I was talking to a lot of locals, and I speak Spanish, I can talk to them. So I was able to gather some information from them, and they told me that if you see a tourist on the street, There is a law that he was telling me about that is frowned upon if you try to assault like a tourist, if you're trying to rob a tourist. So by me telling you this is because it's pretty safe. You can be in the streets of Cuba and it's gonna be pretty chill, pretty safe. Nobody's gonna be trying to take away things from you. So I just want to say that it's pretty safe. Probably you didn't know that, and I didn't share that in the previous video. So yeah, that's a really good tip. Okay, so and this is gonna be the last thing that I wanted to share with you. So this is gonna be probably something that you didn't know about Cuba. So whenever you're going there, I'm gonna share something with you that a guy left it on me, and it's really interesting because it's something that he mentioned. And there's something, and also I'm gonna share something that I was able to gather from people, some people living in Cuba. I'm gonna read it to you so you can see what I'm trying to talk about. So I'm gonna read it to you. What you guys don't know about going to Cuba is that all the money you spend there will end up in the pockets of the government. Cuba has a planned economy dominated by the state-run enterprises. Most industries are owned and operated by the corrupt government, and most of the labor force is employed by the state. Owners of the small private restaurants, paladares, originally could seat no more than 12 people and can only employ family members. Said monthly fees must be paid to the corrupt Cuban government regardless of income. And the reason I'm gonna share some like quick stories. So when we were going to Viñales, we were like, I'm always curious, I'm always asking a lot of questions. So the taxi guy that was with me, like he was gonna take us from Havana all the way to Viñales, and I was asking him like, what is the average salary there in Cuba? And he was mentioning that the average salary there in Cuba is $15, and into CUPs that converts 15 CUCs, which is gonna convert to American dollars as $15. Into CUPs like 450 CUPs, something like that. And he was mentioning the whatever you earn. So let's say if you're a taxi driver, so and you earn like $1,000 a month or something like that, based on the trips that you make, you need to pay the government from 60 to 70% of your income. Reasons why, they don't know. That's something that they need to pay the government. Basically, the government is kind of like, based on what he said, is kind of like taking away all the income from that person. And I just thought that this is something interesting because most people that are doing these complete guides to Cuba and they trying to share like things to do in Cuba, what you don't know about Cuba, is that they don't share like these specific things from locals. And it's really interesting to just tell you what I was able to hear from these people. And most of anything, if you're able to tip anyone, that comes back to a previous question, do it, because based on what they say is that the government is kind of like charging them a lot of money from the income, and by you giving them like a tip or something, it's really gonna help them out. So yeah, and that concludes the video for these specific things that you didn't know about Cuba, and I answered like most of the frequently asked questions that you were able to hear in this specific video. And I just want to thank you for staying with me, for actually subscribing to this channel. Thank you for the 22,000 views that I already got in the video. If you come from that specific video and you're subscribed to my channel, I just want to thank you so much. And I just want to say one more thing. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. My name is Anthony Llanos1. I'm gonna put like an Instagram emoji right here or something like you can follow me in there. And yeah, and without further ado, I just want to thank you. I want to talk to you, and I'll see you until the next time. Okay, peace. Take care.